Welcome to John's Yamaha, home of the Yamaha, where we sell Yamaha and we love Yamaha. Don't forget to check out the new lounge. We've got coffee and cold water.
Do you sell Yamaha?
Yes, we do sell Yamaha.
Okay.
John Bag. That's Big John Bag. My friends call me Big J Bag. Really not sure why they call me that, though. I think it's an insult. Unclear. Anyways, what can I do for?
I'm looking for something safe.
Come on over here. Now this right here. This is what you want. 2 wheels, 4-stroke, decent power. Requires a little bit of balance.
I don't know, man. 2 wheels, that could be kind of dangerous. You know, balance and everything.
We got just what you need. Come on over here. Now, this is what you want right here. Yamaha Blaster 200. This is a good one. 4 wheels, a little bit safer.
I mean, 4 wheels is definitely better than 2, but I feel like you could roll one of these things. I got a buddy that did that. It was pretty bad. You got anything safer? Something with a roll cage?
Roll cage. I got something for you over here. Now this right here is your ultimate option. Yamaha TriZ 250. 3 wheels. That's 1 more than 2, 1 less than 4.
It's just right.
You really can't go wrong. And you don't have to worry, no one's ever rolled one of these things.
Can't argue with that. I'll take it. What's the safest thing to ride? Dirt bikes require balance. Quads can roll over. Why don't we make something that requires balance and can easily roll over? We'll call it the 3-wheeler. That'll be safe. That's exactly what Yamaha said when they designed the TriZ 250. 250cc liquid-cooled 2-stroke engine, 3 wheels, and a front end that weighs about 1 ounce. What's not safe about that? Now, to increase my odds of safety, double it if you will, I got 2 of these damn things. Now, if I'm being honest, one of these is going to be for parts because getting parts for these old machines is going to be a freaking pain in the ass. But it's windy as all hell out here, so I'll see you in the garage. Man, talk about some cool machines. These are my first ever 3-wheelers. Now, I've had a couple opportunities to ride other people's 3-wheelers. I got to ride a crazy one of Dave Moore's that had like I think it was an 18-inch extended swing arm. It was a drag machine. Thing was freaking crazy. And then I've ridden some normal 3-wheelers. I've never ridden a TriZ though. I've never owned one. I've never been able to work on one. So this is really cool. And just like most machines here at Basket Case Garage, these things do come with a story. Now, before we get into that story, I thought it would be cool to just do a walk around of these 2 machines because I've really never had a close-up look at these things. And I thought that would be cool to share with you guys. So this one here is a 1986 and this one's a 1985. At least I'm speculating. Guys, if you're a 3-wheeler guy, I'm a noob when it comes to these things. So hop in the comment section below, anything in this video. If you have information on these things or I'm wrong on something, correct me. I'm really curious to know about these things. But from what I understand, the black and red color scheme is the 1986, and then the yellow and black color scheme is the 1985. So this 1986 is the one that we're gonna be restoring, and then this one back here is basically a parts bike. You can see, I mean, it's missing quite a good bit of stuff, including the engine, which, I mean, that's pretty important. And then we've got this box of parts over here too. We've got another exhaust. This is another, I believe that's a fuel tank, some fairings, and looks like some odds and ends in there. I'm not even sure really entirely what's in there. From what I understand, the 85s were a 5-speed, 86 was a 6-speed, and then also in 86 they updated some suspension, they did some carburetor changes, and I think a couple other different things. These were supposed to be, according to some of the forums that I read, the 86 was supposed to actually have like a pretty noticeable difference in upgrade when it comes to performance as opposed to the 85. Now really this 86 is not in bad shape. You know, short of the dust and the 18s on the back that are flat, it's really not that bad. I want to clean this thing up. I just wanted to go do the little walk around before we do that so that you guys can see just the way that I received this thing. But I think if we clean it off and we put some air in the tires Actually won't look that bad. You know, we straighten up these levers and whatnot. It won't look like a half bad machine. The only thing is I have no idea if this damn thing runs. So I think we have to at least try to get it fired up. Got a nice DG pipe on there. You can see that 250 liquid cooled 2-stroke. I'm sure this thing is a freaking blast to ride. It's probably a handful. Look at the sprocket back there. It looks very complex. It's a big sprocket too. And I was looking at the disc guard, or not the disc guard, but the disc brake itself. It's very interesting how it has this like, this design here seems a little bit complex. You know, instead of just being like a flat disc. It's very interesting. Then you've got the fuel tank in the back. That's what this bubble thing is here. If you take the seat cover, or the seat off, there we go. You see it says premix only. So that's actually your fuel cap here. And then just like the new YFZs, or not the YFZs, the YZ450F dirt bikes, this is the airbox up here. So we've got a front kicking kickstarter. It'll kick this way. I don't know about the compression. It doesn't really feel like there's very much. Looks like a case repair right here. It really doesn't look too bad. Everything is just really dusty and dirty. Give you guys a look at the 85. Check out these bars, dude. These are super narrow. Look at those things. They're almost like Banshee drag bars. Looks like, I don't know if this is a modified airbox. It just doesn't have a cover. Got an uni filter in there. Very interesting design. Got a headlight sitting in here. Mint condition. DG Type 2. Probably use this silencer. The other one is not in as nice of condition. These tires back here look beast, bro. Look like they could go through some serious mud. And I'm not sure if these are the original gold wheels, but they look like they're in really good shape. Now, although if we clean this thing up, it might look pretty good, there's definitely some work that needs to be done. This suspension is worse than my 17-year-old mattress, and it is leaking all over the place. I think it's coming from the forks, possibly the brakes, I'm not sure. The rear shock doesn't feel much better, but it is pretty soft. And I'm noticing little issues all over, like the broken subframe where the grab bar connects. And I'm sure as we dig into this thing further, we're gonna find more and more issues. But before we do that, I wanna clean this thing off. I'll clean both of them, and then, just maybe, we can get this thing started before we tear it down. Man, what a difference filling up the tires makes. This thing has been a nightmare pushing it around. With flat tires and no rear grab bar. Look at all this dirt, grit, and grime. This thing actually might look deceivably good. Just cleaning this dirt off of the seat and the plastics. This thing has literally been sitting on a shelf for like 10 years. All right, here we go. Oh yeah. It's basically completely restored now. Man, this thing could really deceive somebody. If you just looked at pictures of this thing, you could probably get away with saying this is a fully restored, ready to rock and roll machine. Realistically though, if you take a closer look, you can see it looks like the plastics were spray painted and just a number of stuff. It was kind of like, I guess, an economy restoration, and there is a story behind that. So both of these TriZs came from Powersports Nation. Powersports Nation is the largest parts provider for ATVs and UTVs in the country. If you guys follow the channel, you've probably seen me name drop them quite a few times. Now, if you are looking for parts, I encourage you to go to the Powersports Nation website. While they did provide the parts for this project, what they specialize in is utility ATVs and side-by-side parts. The search engine on their website works great, and it's consistently updated with the new machines and parts that they get into inventory. I love Powersports Nation, I really do, and not not just because of like their parts and stuff, but they've just taken a huge interest in what I do, and I think they really believe in what I do, and they're providing projects like this, which I just think is freaking awesome. What the plan is to make one nice machine out of all this stuff. You know, this one looks really solid. I think we've got a nice base to start here with. I have no idea what we're gonna get into when we start tearing into the engine and stuff like that, and then the rest of the stuff will go back to Powersports Nation, and they can tear it all down and list all those parts up for sale, because there's gonna be a lot of good leftover stuff here. All right, I gotta see what this thing feels like. Oh my gosh, dude, the suspension. It's totally whooped, dude. First time ever sitting on a TriZ 250. Pretty cool, pretty cool. It feels very low, but that could be because of the suspension, and it's also got the 18s on it. Very, it feels pretty cool. Oh man, this thumb throttle is really tight. Now, like I said before, most of the machines here on this channel have a story behind them. So this isn't just a machine that Powersports Nation brought in, you know, to part out or to fix up or something like that. This was actually a machine that was in the family. It belongs to Todd, the owner of Powersports Nation, and it's a family-owned business. He's got a few sons, and this apparently they did a restoration on it when they were kids. So we're talking like 10 plus years ago, you know, spray paint plastics and stuff. It's kind of like an economy job. And just looking over it, you can see the little things that were overlooked, and you know, mechanically this thing we're probably gonna find out is not the greatest. So they restored this thing and they put it up on a shelf in storage, and that's where it's been sitting literally for more than a decade. And as you guys could see, it was covered in dust. I don't know if this thing ever actually ran or if they rode it or if it's something that they just got together really quickly and you know, it was kind of like a little project and then they just set it aside and kind of forgot about it. Great. I squeezed the brakes and now the brakes are locked up. So yeah, clearly this thing needs some work. This is going to be a complete restoration. We're gonna tear the entire thing down and build it back up like it's brand spanking new, and we might do a couple modifications as well. I'm thinking these forks are gonna be its greatest weakness. I think it's BVC Off-Road makes a kit where you can upgrade it to, you know, modern dirt bike forks, which is supposed to be a major upgrade over these things. Man, I've heard of people bending these forks. I mean, look at them, look at these forks. They're super skinny. For such a big machine, I could see why those things would bend, especially you start jumping these things. Now this may very well be a death wish, but I think before we tear this down, I'd like to see if we have spark, get a little bit of fuel in there, and maybe the thing will fire up, and we'll ride it around just a very small amount. Now that I see that the brakes have got some issues, you know, three-wheelers, like I said before, are very safe. So the brakes, do we really need them? Probably not. And this is the right thing to do. All right, let's start back here and see if there's even any gas in this thing. It doesn't even smell like gas. I wonder, yeah, there's something in there. Ooh, that's not good. I was kind of hoping that they had stored it with nothing in there. It looks green. I don't know if you guys will be able to see in there. Now, I'm not 100% sure how this works, but I believe this is the fuel pump here. And it looks like there's two petcocks. There's this one right here, which appears to be on reserve. And then there's this one up here, which looks like it's on off. So I think the fuel pump pumps up to this petcock here, and then this is the fuel on-off valve. Choke right here. I think what I'm gonna do is just use an auxiliary fuel tank. Now I'd like to pull the bowl off and at least make sure that our jets are flowing nice and evenly. And the closer that I look at this thing, I'm seeing more and more stuff that's an issue. Look what happens when I pull the clutch. The actuator isn't hooked up to the little stay on the case. I'm not sure how that's supposed to stay in there, but that's gonna be an issue. And then look at this case saver, dude. This really is a prime example of a machine that it's like a 10-footer, maybe a 20-footer. You know, you step back 10 or 20 feet and it looks awesome, and the closer that you get, you just start to see tons and tons of little problems. Even as I'm sitting here looking at this pipe, you can see drip marks in the paint, and if you come up here, you can see all the imperfections were just spray painted right over. Now that I'm seeing all these little imperfections on this thing, I'm thinking that it might be more realistic, that we might be able to get this thing fired up and just running. I don't know if I want to ride it though, especially with the little clutch issues and stuff. It would probably be a really big project, and the smart thing to do to like strip the plastics and really go over this thing completely before actually riding it. You know, last thing I need is like runaway three-wheeler happening, and you guys will be seeing me in the obituaries. So let's just take it one thing at a time and start by cleaning up this carburetor. Looks like there's water in there. The carb doesn't look bad though. You can see the beads of water in the carburetor. This thing would probably never have started. And I wouldn't be surprised if there's water in the gas as well. Yeah, that's water just coming out of the bowl. Ugh. That's freaking nasty, man. Water and sludge. Very good combination. So I'm gonna disassemble this and we'll put it through the ultrasonic cleaner. All right, well, the cleaner's doing its thing. Let's see if we've got any coolant in here. You can see that this used to be a yellow fender. So this is probably from a 1985. And it is possible that this is a 1985. You know, it's painted and everything, so maybe this is... There's nothing in there. I'm afraid to even try to fill this thing with water. So this will probably just be a quick start. We won't let it get too hot. It's not like it really matters. We're going to be completely redoing this anyways. Let's get our spark plug. Check that out. Okay. They were running an NGK B8ES. It definitely looks like it was running at some point, so it wasn't like they rebuilt it and then never fired it. I'm going to spray a little bit of oil in the cylinder because this thing's been sitting for so long. I'm aware that PB Blaster is not the best option here, but again, guys, this is all getting redone. This doesn't look very good. This looks like the switches for the headlight, the contacts and stuff. Hopefully the kill switch is not on. What the hell? This just fell out of, I don't even know. And I see there's more wires just shoved under here, kind of bouncing around. This is turning out to be quite interesting. It has spark. Good spark. We should be able to get this thing to start. It's got enough compression. I think we'll be able to get it. Let's see if there's any oil in here. Even though it really doesn't matter because we're not going to be driving this. The two-stroke, the cylinder and crank are oiled by the fuel, so this would really just be if we were riding it. I can see oil on the gears in there. So I think we're okay. Carburetor is clean. Man, look at that thing. That ultrasonic cleaner does a great job. Got all the sludge and everything out of there. All that sludge that was in the bowl. No scrubbing or anything. Just cleans it all out. Looks great. So I'm gonna go ahead and assemble this thing and then we're gonna test this baby out. All right, it's all on there. It should fire up. I've been looking for an excuse to use this little auxiliary fuel tank. This is perfect for this situation because I just don't want to mess with that fuel pump, man. That thing is probably gunked up with the same slime that was in the carburetor. It's pretty cool, man. You just kind of hang it where you want. It's got a little fuel petcock on here so you can turn that on. Hopefully we don't have any leaks. All right, looks like the bowl is filled with fuel. I don't see any leaks. Well, as luck would have it, it's freaking pouring outside. So, see if we can get this thing started, and I'm just gonna kind of aim this out the back. All right, here we go. TriZ. Oh, dude, the shocks are so bad. First start before restoration. Fuel is on. We'll try it without the choke. Man, this thing really barely has any compression. I can smell the gas. It's pulling fuel in. I took the boot off for the airbox, so it's pulling straight in from the carburetor. So it rules that out. All right, now come on now. It burped. It smells like maybe a little bit, something burned. Popped a little bit. Come on now. Give her just a shot.
starting fluid. See if that does it. If it ain't starting with that, I don't know, man. I think we might be beat. Whew. I don't think we're getting it, man. Maybe like pull starting it or something, but I'm kicking that pretty good. It just feels like it has like almost no compression. All right, guys, I decided to take a break last night. I just got off the phone with Todd, the owner of PSN, and it sounds like they actually never had this thing running. In fact, this is basically the condition that they got it in, and then his sons just basically made it look nice. So it's been up on a shelf, and it's kind of been like a display piece. So I don't know that I could say that they restored this thing, but it looks like somebody attempted to do that at some point in time. Anyways, in a last-ditch effort, I'd really like to get this thing fired up. I've got the heat gun, and I'm just making the cylinder and the pipe nice and warm, and that should help at least a little bit. It's kind of like a diesel, you know, they have like the block warmers. And this is just an effort to get this damn thing started. All right, give her a shot of starting fluid. I'm also gonna wear my boots, which will help me kick this thing a little bit harder. Check these things out. These are the brand new adventure boots that Rocky Mountain ATV just released. They're from MSR, and I gotta say, man, they're super comfortable. I chose these because when I'm doing more recreational riding, especially for long periods of time, these are a lot more comfortable than the Tech 10s that I've been lugging around, and they're also quite a bit lighter. And the best part is, they're waterproof. I haven't yet tested these things out riding them, but just wearing them around the house, it feels like they don't even need a break-in period. I will have these linked in the description below if you wanna check them out. All right, let's see if we can get this thing to start up. Dude, I'm telling you, the compression is just like not even there. Whoa, what the hell? Did you guys see that?
Whoa, what the hell?
It's like sneezing and stuff. I don't think we're getting this thing started, guys. It could be out of time or something. Just because we have spark and fuel doesn't mean we're gonna get it fired. And the low compression ain't helping either. Damn. Anticlimactic, I know. I really wanted to get this thing fired up, but believe me, this thing will have its glory day and its moment in the spotlight. I think its best days are ahead of it. So I think the next step for this thing is to tear it down and figure out what parts we need for it. And speaking of parts, let's hop over to the computer and come up with a plan for this thing. So we need a plan if we're gonna build this TriZ correctly. So the first thing I wanna go over is the color scheme. I've got, there's 3 main color schemes. So I'd like to keep it pretty much OEM looking. I think the Resto mod is kind of what I want to do for this thing. So the 3 color schemes are the black and yellow. This is what they had in 1985. Sorry, this picture is a little pixelated, but here's a better picture on an angle. That is the black and yellow color scheme. I don't think I want to go with that because it wouldn't be representative of the year. You know, I think I'm 99% sure that we do have a 1986. So there's that color scheme. And then there were 2 color schemes for 1986 from what I understand. And again, like I said at the beginning of this video, I'm not an expert with the 3-wheeler or the TriZ, so if you guys have specific information, let me know in the comment section below. Here is the 86 though, in black and red. And it's interesting that it has the silver wheels. I thought it had the gold wheels. That's the black and red. And then they also had black and white. I wanna go back to that picture. This one here is a great example of the black and, or the red and white, I'm sorry. And this is the color scheme that I'm leaning towards because although I'm not super familiar with the TriZ, I didn't even know that they had this color scheme, so I'm assuming it's probably the most rare. And availability for plastics, we can get any color that we want of those 3 colors. Now this is a really cool picture I wanted to show you guys. It's it looks like an ad or something from Yamaha. It's really cool. They have, I think these are the upgrades for 1986. Now I'm gonna start down in this corner here. It says front and rear hydraulic disc brakes. Actually, I don't know if that was an upgrade, but then the 39mm forks with 255mm of travel and air adjustable damping. Back in the day, that was probably like revolutionary, which that's something that I'd like to upgrade, but I do believe that was a difference for 86. Sealed liquid cooling system with dual radiators, recovery tank, coolant temperature warning lamp, and the only thermostat in the 3-wheeler class. Dual quartz halogen headlights, manual clutch lever, operates on multiple plate wet clutch that's identical to YZ's. This I thought was really interesting. So the whole time I've been working on this thing, I'm like,
why would they put the airbox where the fuel tank is? Because, you know, I think three-wheelers, you know, they're so light in the front end as it is, and I think it's really difficult to keep the front end on the ground. So you would think that you'd want the fuel up front to keep some weight up there. Well, here's why. It says air intake is positioned high to avoid stalling when crossing streams. So it was for waterproofing. I thought that was really interesting. CDI with revised high-speed spark retard and increased horsepower at peak RPM. High-performance seat provides padding in all the right areas. Fuel tank positioned for lower center of gravity. So I guess that would be also a reason why they had that configuration. New low-profile tires for better control during sliding. And then this is really interesting too. New 1-inch bigger alloy rear wheels with reversible for wider stance. So from what I understand, in 1985, the rear wheels had no offset. So it wouldn't matter which way you put them on, you could reverse them, it would still, your width would be the same in the rear. Whereas they changed the offset in 1986. So you could flip the wheel, you could unbolt your wheels and flip them around, and you could narrow or widen up the rear end. I think that's a really big upgrade in my opinion. And then it says monocross rear suspension with more progressive linkage ratios and more wheel travel than ever. So the rear shock and geometry back there was updated, and then new 6-speed transmission for faster acceleration and higher top speed. So the 86, it seems like, really was quite a bit better. So this is the color scheme that I think is the coolest. You guys let me know in the comment section below what you would like to see, or would you want to see custom color scheme? At least as far as like the frame and stuff like that. The plastics, we're kind of stuck with what's available. So now let's hop to eBay. I have a TriZ watch list, and this is basically, I've just been compiling some of the parts that I'm going to be getting for this thing. I really won't have a great idea of what I need until we do the teardown. But there's some aftermarket stuff I found. I've got a service manual. I think that's really important. And I'm kind of like a collector of service manuals at these points. I got a gasket kit, got chain sliders and rollers, and then just a whole bunch of bearings. The bearing availability isn't the greatest on this thing, but it seems like most of them they have out there. And then I found this adjustable axle. Believe it or not, it says Yamaha Warrior, Banshee, and probably Blaster too. They all fit the TriZ 250. It's supposed to be a direct swap. So this is super cheap, man, $129. I don't know that I'm gonna get the niche one, but maybe I'll get a Tusk one or something like that. And I don't wanna go crazy making it super wide. I think that looks kind of silly. I think +2 will help with stability and cornering, and it'll give it a nice stance. Then I've got these extra wide foot pegs by Wicked Metal Designs. Wicked Metal Designs has made me some, I think the pegs on the Voodoo Banshee, and I love them. They're really nice pegs, and the pegs that are on there are kind of whooped. The one is bent. These are, I think, will be a nice upgrade. And then the last thing on my list is TriZ graphics. So there's a company, this vintage parts store, that makes replica graphics. And I love that they've got the warning labels on there too. So this looks like one kit for 60 bucks. I mean, that's like a no-brainer. And these things look really nice. And that's another thing I wanted to get you guys' opinion on. Would you guys want to see custom graphics on this thing? I'm, again, kind of going with the resto mod thing. I could also design graphics that look just like the OEM ones, but have like a little bit of a custom touch. Now moving along with modifications, the front forks, like I had stated before, are definitely a weak spot on the TriZ. So this is a kit that BBC Trikes offers, and it utilizes CR85 or CR150R forks, which I think are basically the same. And they've got billet clamps, and then you put the upgraded forks in there, and then it also comes with a 10-inch front rim, because the TriZ has a 12-inch front rim, which really, really minimizes the availability for tires. It's a weird rim size. They don't make too many tires in that size. So this would bring it to a common size. It comes with the hub, bearings, axle, and everything. So I think that would really update the front end and probably make the handling and performance way better. And then to go along with that front end, I think we could get some Hermosi bar clamps on there. I imagine that this thing has quite a bit of vibration. On every machine that I've put them on so far, they've made a really big difference with fatigue in your forearms, because not only do they reduce arm pump from hitting rocks and stuff, but just generally vibrations, because it's insulated by a rubber mount. I think that would really improve this TriZ. And then of course the Hermosi thumb throttle, they just give a really nice feel. So between the thumb throttle, the bar clamps, the updated forks, and the wider axle, I think that'll give this TriZ a much more updated feel. It's gonna be interesting because, I don't have enough experience on three-wheelers to really be able to tell, how much of a difference it's gonna make. But I know on the four-wheelers and dirt bikes that I've built, stuff like this just really, really helps with the handling and just overall fit and finish of a machine, and it makes it more enjoyable to ride. And one last thing, let's go to eBay, and we're gonna go to TriZ 250 plastics. I just wanna show you what's out there. So you can see Meyer makes plastics, the front and the back, for the TriZ. And check this out, this really surprised me. There's actually a second aftermarket company that makes plastics for the TriZ, this company right here. I think this is it. The brand is like KTX, I think. KTX Pro. You guys let me know if you've tried them before. I saw they had them on like Alibaba and stuff, so I'm a little worried that they might be on the cheap side and maybe the fitment sucks. I looked at reviews and some people were saying that the bolt holes don't line up quite perfectly, but once you modify them, they're good to go. On something like this where we don't have a crazy amount of product availability, I'm okay with that. You know, I'll modify the bolt holes, but I want the fit and finish to be really nice. If they're wavy or, you know, crooked and stuff like that, I don't want them. But I just thought that it was kind of neat. They do offer this sand color, like the color that I have on the 250R. It looks like it's kind of like a more matte finish and sand. So, I mean, I could do like a 250R color scheme. I don't really think I'm considering doing that, but I did just want to throw it out there. I'm really surprised that there's two companies that make plastics for this TriZ 250, you know, a machine that was only made for 2 years. So until we tear this thing down, this is where I'm at with parts. Suggestions below, please guys, let me know what you think, what you've tried with these three-wheelers. If you have any suggestions, I'm open ears, man. I'm really excited to learn about these things. If you enjoyed this video in any way, shape, or form, please give me a thumbs up. That does help me out tremendously. And for more videos like this, please consider subscribing. I'll see you guys in the next video. Peace out.